Hello everybody, Rackhamdar here. Welcome to a brand new video on my YouTube channel. As some of you may know, I used to post a bit more regularly on here, in the usually in the forms of Let's Plays. Recently, I have been kind of disregarding the YouTube channel in favor of my Twitch channel, and focusing a bit more on that, only relying on YouTube to kind of store some of my VODs, since I do find the YouTube player a bit more user-friendly and streamlined than the Twitch one. But that's all going to change here soon. I am trying to get back into the YouTube community, as I do want to make some content for the Yu-Gi-Oh community. I've recently been getting pretty invested into the Yu-Gi-Oh scene, and I'm having a great time with it. The community is a pretty good one, and I do really enjoy playing some of these duels and, playing some fun Yu-Gi-Oh. So with that being said, as you can see here, we have Duel Links loaded up. And we are going to be doing a 5-part video series for Beginner's Guide to Duel Links. It's something that I felt pretty strongly for, especially with the new box coming out. People were having questions, especially the new players that were mostly free to play. And so these videos are going to try to help them, alleviate some of those initial stresses that happen when you first load up the game. And the first and probably the most important one is Beginner's Guide to the Card Shop. So the card shop is this, building right here in which you purchase card packs either with real money or with gems. And as a free-to-play player myself, it can be a bit tough to try and build up the gems in order to get all the cards you need. So I'm going to try to explain and, go over some of the things that you should maybe as a new player, especially looking to get into the competitive scene, which boxes you should be looking out for and which ones you should use those initial gems on. When you first start up the game, you should probably be getting about 2,000 to 4,000 gems. I don't remember the exact number they award you, but it's roughly in that area. And so I'm going to try to, as briefly as possible, go over the important ideas and what you should be spending those gems on. So first things first, we should talk about these structure decks. Hero Rising and Legendary Warriors. Hero Rising comes with 2 copies of Polymerization and Elemental Hero Blazeman, both of which are pretty staple in terms of a fusion deck, and since most fusion decks are like these are your key fusion deck cards. And then Blazeman has another effect that helps him in a couple other Elemental Hero decks themselves, so you can even run him there. And then you also get Elemental Hero Heat. He's just a pretty strong, low-level monster that helps. That can be used in some of your Elemental Hero decks. And then you have Legendary Warriors. This is a Joey deck that relies on these warrior cards, X-Saber Anuf Piranha and X-Saber Galahad. These 2 cards are pretty high attack power monsters that are very synergistic with his Field Warrior skill, because it gives them a field spell that boosts their attack even more. And especially with the equip weapons and A-forces, this deck relies pretty heavily on building swarming your opponent with really high attack point monsters from the get-go. And so you can easily get this guy or this guy or over 3,000 attack if you play, if you get the combo going. And so it could be a pretty overwhelming deck at first. So I'd recommend picking up at least one of them. I'd probably go for Hero Rising just for the polymerizations myself. And it also has some decent cards. But I would recommend getting one of those so that you can kind of speed up the PvP or PvE process, because auto battling with these 2 decks will get you very far, especially early on. And that'll be really useful for grinding out some levels and some events. I'll be talking a bit more about that in the next few videos. As for the boxes themselves, this mini box, Dawn of Destiny, is probably the best one that you should go for. This mini box comes with a ultra rare card, Sacred Phoenix of Nephthys, and this card is very synergistic with the Fire King Island and Fire King Avatar Yaksha. These kind of support each other and are very synergistic. So you can easily just build a deck with 3 of these, 3 of these, and 3 of these, and kind of get yourself going pretty nice. Then you also get the super rare card, Super Rush Headlong. This is a very powerful card in order to kind of, get your lower level monsters or weaker monsters over a pretty high attack point monster. And so I'd recommend picking this up. Very useful, and it's pretty staple nowadays. And then you got these Naturia cards down here as well. So if you don't manage to, if you've run out of gems or something and you get very unlucky, and none of these cards show up for you, you should have a full Naturia deck on your hands as well. It's only one rare card, which is this card, Naturia Manon, and pretty much all normal cards. So you run 3 of this, 3 of this, 3 of this, and 3 of this for the most part. I think you would run maybe 2 of one just to kind of make it a bit less bricky. But for the most part, these are the cards that you're going to be running in this deck. And they're all normal, so it's a really simple deck to build, very low investment, and it can easily climb you pretty far in terms of ranked, especially early on. Then if you aren't going all in for a single box, I would recommend picking and choosing from these most recent 3 mini boxes: Resonance of Contrast, Blades of Spirit, and Servants of Kings. Servants of Kings, you'll be mostly in these boxes looking for the spells and traps that are on the super rare list. Servants of Kings comes with Wall of Disruption, one of the best back row in the game at the moment. Pretty staple in a lot of decks. High levels will play around it a bit better, but for the most part, you're just going to cuck all of your opponents with it. Draining Shield's really solid as well. It's a negate on your opponent's attack, and also heals you. And then Birthright can be teched in for a couple in some niche decks. It's basically a crappier powerful rebirth, but it does work on higher level monsters. And then in this Blades of Spirits deck, we do got the powerful rebirth card itself. Powerful rebirth can target any level 4 or lower monster in the graveyard and revive them from the graveyard. And it also gives them an extra 100 attack point boost and makes their level increase by 1, which can be used with beatdown in some silly situations if you're, kind of doing that. And then it also comes with this card here, Fire Formation Gyoku. This is one of the best ways to lock down your opponent's back row. Basically, when this card is played, you pick a card on your opponent's spell and trap zone, and they can't activate that card while this is on the field. And they can't activate the card in response to this activation either. So if they have like an econ there and you play this, that econ is gone until this card gets destroyed. So it's a very useful card and very powerful, especially in a lot of rushdown decks, in order to get that back row completely removed. And then you got Resonance of Contrast. This box comes with a couple supers of themselves. Skill Successor is a pretty solid card. It gives one monster you control 400 attack. This can be pretty useful. It's not the best effect, but it does have the added benefit of 2 effects. When this card is in the graveyard, you can actually banish it in order to gain 800 attack. This only works on your turn, unfortunately, but it does have that 2-for-1 deal combo going on, which gives you just that added little, boost to the investment. You're getting your money's worth because you got those 2 extra effects. And that's about it here. You do get Void Trap Hole. This is kind of a poor man's replacement for Floodgate Trap Hole. But this can be used, especially with some of the newer monsters that have been coming out of late. It basically, when your opponent special summons a monster with 2,000 or more attack, negate the effect of that monster and then destroy it. This is it's pretty decent. You can use it during with Cyber Angels because they do only special summon since they're ritual monsters. And then there's some of the Red Eyes decks that special summon as well. You can use this to kind of prevent some of their plays. But for the most part, it has to be a special summon and it has to have 2,000 or more attack. So those are pretty limited requirements at the moment. So it's not the best alternative, but Floodgate's an ultra rare in a big box, so definitely go for this one instead. And then that's about it for the mini boxes. And the other, after you've kind of, gone through the mini boxes, you can start looking for your big box cards. I recommend the mini boxes because, since they're mini boxes, there's less cards in there, so you're going to be getting higher chances of those cards, right? So in Servants of Kings, there's a much higher chance for getting Wall of Disruption than, say, Mirror Wall and Neo Impact. So I would much I much more recommend trying to pick up some of these cards in the mini boxes, since you have a much higher chance of getting them, and then you can start looking through some of the bigger boxes in order to pick out those ultra rares that you're searching for. In terms of big boxes to go all in for, the two ones that you should do so in is Abyss Encounters, the newest one, and Galactic Origin. Galactic Origin has the benefit of a pretty low investment top tier deck in it, that is Gladiator Beasts. All of these Gladiator Beast cards are super rare or lower, with the exception of one. And that one exception is an ultra rare fusion card that you rarely summon. So you don't even kind of need this card. So you got this Gladiator Beast Aquare, and then the Murmillo, Bestiari, and all those other cards that are important in the Gladiator Beast deck are in the rares or lowers. And then you get some, you could potentially grab some pretty useful super rares in the form of Impenetrable Attack. And then you can also pick up Cosmic Cyclone, which is a pretty important ultra rare back row removal card that you should definitely look into right now. I would go for Galactic Origin. Cosmic Cyclone is going to be important in the meta, and I really suggest that you try to pick this card up. And you'll also kind of kill two birds with one stone, as you'll get a top tier deck right along with it. And then the other card or other box set that you can go for is Abyss Encounters. The reason that the Cosmic Cyclone recommendation is so strong right now is because Sea Stealth Attack is a very powerful trap card. It's a meta changer, and it also has the benefit of protecting itself from destruction. And so, very, very hard card to get rid of if you do not have that Cosmic Cyclone. And so I would highly recommend picking it up just to deal with this card. And there are a couple other cards that are, starting to run around that protect themselves from destruction. So Cosmic Cyclone is a nice card to keep in mind whenever you want to bypass some cards like that. But the main reason I recommend this deck is because of the Alien archetype. The Aliens are a pretty decent set of monster cards that just got released in this box, actually. And they're actually not bad. They have a pretty decent, combo potential and things like that. I'm not 100% sure how they work, as I haven't played them yet. Still in the process of picking them up. But they're pretty decent, and they can actually do pretty well in the ranked ladder. There's a couple other YouTubers that have done so. And the super nice thing, super rare or lower. Just like those Gladiator Beast cards, you're only needing super rares or lower. So this is another low investment top tier, potentially top tier deck that you can go for if you're as a player, as a free to play player. And so the Alien archetype and the Gladiator Beast archetype are those two main decks that you should be looking to investing in as a free-to-play competitor. That is, Gladiator Beasts is the deck that I use personally in order to climb to KC Cup level 20, and it's a very great deck, and it's very cheap, so it's a really nice deck to go for, like I said, as a free-to-play. And so that's about it in terms of the card shop. As you start, figuring out what cards you'll need, you can start deciding whether or not it's worth it to invest in some of these bigger boxes. You got Neo Impact, which has your Senju for your ritual decks, and then you have Mirror Wall and Stamping Destruction if you have dragons and stuff. So there are good cards in these, but most of them are ultra rares, unfortunately, and so they're not usually worth it. I would recommend waiting for them to do like a special box like they did before. They actually introduced a box in which they brought out a lot of the ultra rare cards from previous boxes and put them all in one box. So I'd kind of recommend waiting for them to try and go for something like that. But who knows? Konami, you never know what Konami's going to do with stuff like this. So that's about sums it up. Basically, in general, mini boxes have less cards, so go for them if you're going. Go for them since they have a much higher chance of getting your super rares and ultra rares. And then you could pick out these two main boxes for your low investment top tier decks. So I hope that helped some of you guys. I'm really looking forward to making this series, as I really enjoy helping out some of the, people like this, and giving them information that they may otherwise not have. And this, I hope, helps you figure out your initial purchases as you just download the game and you say, I have 2,000 gems. What the hell do I need to buy? So I hope that this helps. Leave some suggestions in the comments if I may be left something out that someone may have some extra advice on. If you have any of that, you can post them in the comments. Please be sure to give this a spread to your new players for Duel Links. Let them see this. Let them, have this knowledge before they go into things, and maybe it'll help them out. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Later.